Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, hello, hello. I'm your host, Jacque Borowski. You can find me on Twitter at 123Jackie_B. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race After Show, Born Naked, and the rest is drag. I am here with my hosts, Mark Freeman. Where can they find you, Mark, on Twitter?
At Lorraine Love. LORAYNE-LOVE.
And Mark, he is a new panelist with us, and he is a drag queen.
Yeah, I bet you can guess my name.
I know, from his Twitter.
Lorraine Love.
And I have Cameron Marston.
Good evening. Oh, sorry, it's Julian Serrano on the screen. I can't help myself. You know, if you haven't
Steve,
seen the drama video.
Stop distracting our panelists. And we have Stephen Lemieux in the booth, as usual from last year.
Representing Scruff.
Cam, where can they find you on Twitter? Yes, representing Scruff.
Twitter at Tomakava777.
You can also check us out if you're watching us on YouTube. You can check us out on iTunes. Consequently, if you're on iTunes, you can check us out on YouTube. That way, you can see our faces. I don't know if you care about our faces, but they're there on YouTube. We're also on SoundCloud now.
Oh, okay.
It's a new space that we're on. So let's start off. I know that I particularly, and I've said this for those of you this is your first RuPaul's Drag Race AfterBuzz After Show. Some of us have different practices with watching this. For me, I don't get to know any of the queens. I come in cold turkey because I don't like having favorites or picking people out before I watch them. Right. And that's just a preference of mine. And sometimes, yes, I'll have heard of a queen before, but I try as best as I can not to pick out favorites. Now,
before Mark, since he probably have the
right, he has the most knowledge.
I'm with Jackie. I'd rather come in learning them as Logo reveals them to us, because it's a different world than what you find online or through their own posted videos. So I'm with Jackie as well. I'd rather kind of get the new feed. But Mark, what about yourself?
I've slept with them all. I'm kidding. No, only one that I know well is Jasmine Masters. I love her. She's a very dear friend of mine. I do my research, so I've been watching the YouTube Meet the Queens. I've been watching the premiere Red Carpet. I just like to. It's funny because I like to see the Meet the Queens. I'd like to go into that like you, cold. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, let's just see what I think of them,
right? Each
individually, and I go, okay, now who's gonna surprise me after I see the first season, based on the Meet the Queens, and who was I right or who was I wrong about?
Yes.
And I definitely had my favorites from the Meet the Queens, and I had somebody that surprised me. And I think I'm usually pretty right on. I can usually. I'm curious
though, because when we were in the room watching the episode, you immediately said you love Ginger Minj. Now, was that one of your favorites coming into this?
Absolutely. She was the first Meet the Queen that I watched. And I 100% sold. Done.
You know what's interesting is having a different experience. Me, just going in totally cold turkey, she was one of the ones that at the end of the episode, because there's always, you look at their outfits in the beginning and you're kind of assessing it that way, but by the end of the episode, I always have at least one that I'm like, yes, that person. And there was season 4, it was famously where I was like, Sharon Needles is going to win this after like the first episode, and everyone was like, what?
I picked her from the Meet the Queens. I picked her from the Meet the Queens, nice. And I picked the next season. Oh my God.
I'm on 6, so I'm
Ben.
still stuck on 6.
Ben.
No, Ben.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Jinx?
Jinx. I picked Jinx from
okay.
They were just, there's certain things you just, when you're watching them, I did tweet about, this is one of the tweets I got. I did send out a tweet, and I try not to be nasty, But some people obviously will take what you say in a nasty way,
Right.
whether you're intending it to be that way or not.
Right.
So, but I had tweeted about Pearl, her Meet the Queen, because she was so just, hi, I'm Pearl. I'm on RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay, I get it. That's your personality. But I just think of the people that were dying to be on the show that would just be this ball of energy and so happy to be. She didn't seem like she was even happy to be there. So that just kind of, so I made, and then her tweet back was, resting bitch face. And I get that. I have a resting bitch face too. But when I'm on camera, I think the resting bitch, you shouldn't have a resting bitch. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I just think you shouldn't have it.
I think my problem with Pearl was a little bit different than that because after watching the episode, even if you pick a personality that's like a bitchy personality, and I think arguably you're friends with Raven, and arguably on Raven's season, Raven was a bitch.
Yeah.
Like
she just speaks her mind.
Yeah,
I don't think she intends to hurt any feelings.
There's a way to have a personality, and I love Raven. Raven's been one of my favorite drag queens, but there's a way to have a personality and be engaging to viewers. And not be that smiley happy person, but still engage people. So for me, Pearl was just boring.
And I'm sure, and again, that we talked about this, editing has a lot to do with it. You know, I don't know what they were told to say.
Right.
If they said, you're giving us too much, hold back. You know what I mean? That could totally be it. And if that's the case, tweet me. Explain that to me. But I don't know. Certain ones just stand out. I have a different taste. I think I watched one of your things from last season, and you said that you like...
I like Fish Queen.
The fish.
Yes.
And I appreciate it. I can appreciate it.
But I know
it 100%.
I completely understand it gets boring. I also like some of the, I'm not a big fan of comedy queens, but I do like a queen that can rip.
Yeah.
Because that's what I watch the show for. I don't take this as seriously, but I do appreciate certain aspects when it comes to showmanship in that regard. So I get it.
And I'm sure Pearl is a very nice guy. And I'm sure if we were at a bar,
maybe
and
not,
ended up next to each other, we'd be doing shots and having a great old time together. But
so, do you have any other favorites from watching this episode?
I'll tell you my favorites from the Meet the Queens.
Okay.
Because I do believe I tweeted this out. The favorites and stood out to me that I was like, I find interesting, and interesting to me is good. Miss Kasha Davis. Just completed me. And I'm on the lady page with her. Act like a lady, you know? And I get that's not everybody's thing, but I love that. I love Tempest. I thought Tempest stood out to me in the Meet the Queens. And who was the other one? Trixie. Trixie stood out to me. Those were the ones and Ginger. Well, I said that earlier. I think those were the 4 that I tweeted out. Those were my top 4 at the moment. From the beginning.
What about you?
My 2
Cam?
favorites right now are Kennedy Davenport and Trixie. Even though they're not Fish Queens, there's something about their characters that I find interesting, and I'm gonna watch that. So.
My absolute favorite going after watching this episode was Ginger Minge. I mean, all around, just funny, great personality, everything she wore. Even if it wasn't wowing me, it was still a good outfit. And I'm also happy to see a big queen who wears clothes the right way.
Correct.
You see so many big queens who just throw on an like Latrice, a sofa, and you're like, this just doesn't. You have a body, you can use it, and this was one of those great examples where it's to me in the naked section, Ginger Minge had one of the best actually lady-looking naked bodies,
and I thought she had one of the best runways. Spring and fall. I thought she nailed it. Spring and fall.
Yeah.
Some of them, the spring came down, they came down their spring, and I'm like, spring, really? Fall, really? I don't know, but I thought she nailed that too. I thought she should not have been safe.
And I thought she had I do like a good personality, and she to me stood out for being funny, quippy.
And Katya to me, she surprised me.
Yes.
From the Meet the Queens to this episode, I was like, I want to see a little bit more of this young lady.
Yeah, you know what it was with Katya is, for me, I'm a little confused as to how he's from Boston, but the queen is Russian, and
well, he on the red carpet for the premiere, Kelly Mantle was interviewing them, and he asked her, "Have you been to Russia?" And she said, "No, I'd get killed." So she hasn't, and she's never been. So she does. I think it's just the character.
It's just the character, because I was like, that was the one thing where I was like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
But I will say that like every outfit I saw was good. Like every outfit was interesting to me, and and memorable.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is like when you're in this first like slew of queens, you are likely to be the queen that's forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to stand out. You have to have the outfits or the personality or the whatever, even if it's in
gotta
like
have a gimmick.
Yeah, even if it's stupid gimmick like Ornacia, where you're like, we're always going to remember Ornacia.
Yeah.
We are.
Do you think they should have done like last season 7 and 7?
No,
I hated that.
No,
I hated that.
I hated that because.
Some people liked it. I'm for myself.
I thought it was. I liked the idea of it because people do get
mashed up,
get swept away,
Lost in the fray.
Lost in the fray, right? But yeah, no, I'm happy with them all being there.
But the other thing was we have fewer queens this season, so it's like you don't have. I mean, there's that whole thing of okay, I want to give everybody a chance to be on RuPaul's Drag Race, but at the same time, it's like this is a show, so you have to have an audience that can watch the show and understand who the queens are and not just be like, oh gosh, there's way too many people.
Do you think they should, instead of having, do you think they should not have a first, after this challenge, no one should be eliminated. Everyone should at least get a second chance.
I do think that.
I've always thought that too.
Yeah, I do think that.
Because
anybody can...
Like a decompression
episode? Anybody can F it up, in the first episode. Anybody. And there have been some queens that it's like, now that they were like one of the first or second eliminated queens, and now that you go and look back at their career, they're like, they've learned things and fixed things, and they don't have any time to do that.
Well, I always said that too. It's what you take from this experience.
Yes.
And we're going to voice our opinions. You are going to get bombarded with people tweeting about you, things that you're not going to like. You build up your thick skin and you do your best. But I pay attention to who later steps up their game and who is like, I've been on the show, I don't really have to try that hard anymore. And there's a big difference, and we can tell.
The other ones that stood out for me were Trixie, obviously, because I like that. I like that kind of like Barbie makeup.
Do you think though it's going to get old?
I do. That is the reason I liked her as well. The same gimmick. It just made her memorable for me.
Right.
So I was kind of watching to see what else she could do. I was watching what she could say. What did she say? So I want to see if she could rip.
I think it only gets old because the idea is with a name like Trixie Mattel, you're referencing the Barbie brand. So for me, it's like, can she invoke in every outfit she does that this is like astronaut Barbie, this kind of Barbie, and so far she has.
I would
so
hope that she would soften it up to kind of blend eventually. Like there's some kind of evolution of her.
But I was actually texting a friend of mine in Ohio before the show, and I said, remember though, last season we had a lot of people talking about Bianca's makeup.
Yes.
And then she looked very clownish, and then she won. So you never know.
But do you not agree that she softened it up towards the end?
I think she did.
For the runway?
Yeah,
I think she did.
I think she did.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
And I also think Bianca won, like, for that, it's not like Bianca was the best looking queen.
Right.
It was that she stepped up to her challenges and she was the best overall, and she had a personality that made everybody want her to win.
Larger than life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I agree.
And the other one, I actually like Violet Chachki, not necessarily her personality, but every outfit she had, again, I loved.
See, she was one of the ones in the Meet the Queens, and I think I might have wrote a mean tweet.
No.
But I know it's hard to believe. I wish her Meet the Queen was as interesting as she was on the first episode. Like I did not like her outfit. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I want to know what they were told to wear for that.
Yeah,
because they're usually given something like wear this, wear that. Because there was things that were like odd. So I was like, well, they didn't say white. Because at first I thought, they said to wear white, but everybody didn't wear white, and it was just weird. Like I don't get what they were told to do. It just didn't make sense to me. I don't know but that's.
And you know what else is interesting is I usually love theater queens, and for me, Max I just don't like her.
Really?
It's like
she's at least interesting.
I feel like she's interesting in the way that she's memorable. Like that is
Polio,
definitely
right.
right. Who's gonna forget that?
Yeah.
But
what did Carson say? I don't think I wrote it down. He said something funny about it.
But for me, she was almost trying too hard to fit into this like old Hollywood mold.
Yeah.
Like,
I did like her Meet the Queen. Her Meet the Queen was interesting to me. It was just, she was memorable. You know what I mean? And my thing is too, if you're given, each one of these is a challenge. You're
Right.
given, this is your interpretation of that challenge, right?
Right.
So you have, they're given a list of what to kind of bring. You know, you might have to do this, bring this, bring this. So they were probably told, bring something spring, something fall looking.
right.
And you look at some of their outfits and you're like, really? That's fall to you? I don't know. It just seemed a little, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's their interpretation of it, I guess. But
Well, I wanted to real quick. I wanted to bring in something just to have a marker for the rest of the season. I talked earlier with Mark about dick in the soup, which is a term they use here, about manipulation by the producers, and how he strongly felt that last season was a lot, definitely heavily scripted, and I kind of already feel that way about this season, to be honest, with the whole as they entered the room and just the certain lines that were, again, maybe it was editing.
Right.
More so, but so just pay attention for the viewers if you want to make comments on that to see how that evolves or devolves.
Well, I think now also they're making a bigger deal of the entrances.
Yeah.
Each year, the entrance gets to be more heavily weighed upon than it did in the past. In the past, it was more like queens hanging out, getting to know each other. We got none of that banter that we usually get in the workroom. It was like almost nothing.
mm-hmm.
Which is,
And I also think too, I always think about this, what they think, like there was thought put into what to wear. That's the first time you're going to be seen on the show. So I get that a lot of your costumes are being used for future challenges from that list. So you can't use certain things. So you have to kind of space things out. But like we always say, this is season 6. Bring a plethora. You know what I mean? Like put thought into this is
currently season 7.
What did I say?
6.
Oh, sorry.
that's okay.
But I brought up season 6.
it can
so
be
it's all
any
good.
season you want it to be.
I might make season 32. I'll be 80 by then. I'll make Tempest.
What do you
du
mean,
jour.
Mark?
Like,
What are you referring to?
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Okay.
We'll talk about that in our special interview at the end. So now I'm curious, what did you guys think when the queens came out? Like first impressions, like who hit you, who was like yes, who was no,
Let's see. Because I wrote them down as they were coming in.
I did too, but for me, none of the queens' outfits. There have been past seasons where you see a queen and you're like, oh yes,
Yeah.
And I felt like these were all their like safe outfits.
Yeah. Like I let Raja when she came in with the one eye hat. I loved that. I really did that.
And didn't Alaska come in with like a horse head?
Horse head. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's like that's what I'm saying is you're put some thought into what you're coming in and presenting. I did not like Miss Fame's ridiculousness.
I didn't either.
And the blue. I get she's
You know what it
matching the
reminds
outfit,
me
but-
of? Who what? What's funny is like I remember Ornacia more than I remember the actual name of the queen. What was the name of that queen who had Ornacia? Vivacious. It reminded me of that red pointy outfit that she had last season. I was like,
it did not. I don't know. She was kind of a yawn for me.
I liked her other outfits.
I'm
but
not
that
saying
one
she's
was
not pretty
like-
either. I'm not saying she doesn't have a nice costume because I know that's what everyone's
Here we
gonna
go.
write.
Politically correct.
But I'm just talking about personality standing out.
all good.
Sometimes you can really take a dress off the rack and make it memorable by
like
just
the
the way you wear
so
it.
I'm all good.
Yeah. Well,
And
like
Pearl,
that.
I was like, girl, like I don't know why a robot chin has to be happening.
I think I'm just gonna have to remove myself from any Pearl
But
conversation.
that was like milk though, right?
It was like milk, but I feel like I don't know, milk put more effort into it. It was really
that's not even. No, we're not even going there because milk is.
Milk has more of like a theatrical flair
Yeah.
going
Well,
on.
it's
I'm sorry,
creativity.
you
You
just
also had
pointed.
time
You
to
just
get to
painted a
know
black.
Milk, so it's a little bit different,
but you
too.
just painted a black patch on your chin and said, "This is a look."
Well,
Not that I think that's hot, But maybe that's hot in her neck of the woods. Who knows? I don't know. But I think for Milk, you were able to get to know Milk a little bit longer. Maybe you would have liked Homeboy's black chin strap later on. Who knows? I don't know.
Right.
I wasn't my favorite, so.
No.
And she did say also on the red carpet when Kelly was interviewing her that, and I didn't know this till she said it, she tends to keep to the pearl tones and then black. So I think that might get a little old too. I mean, if you're not going to wear any color.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. And I'll say this, when I started doing drag, my thing was I always want to have red nails and red lips. Okay, that died quickly. Okay, like you can only do that for, trust me, it'll get old. It'll get old. You'll have to mix it up eventually. But yeah, I'm not, next.
So as far as now that we're on to the spring and fall runway, by the way, what did you think of having spring and fall runway as a first challenge as opposed to the photo challenge that they've traditionally done?
It was a lot to ask for, I thought.
It was a lot to ask for, but for me, I think I got overwhelmed by runway. I was like, runway.
There's a lot to...
I wanted something else in there to mix it up because I feel like I didn't really... There was no banter in the workroom. There, aside from having the after tapes where you have the people voice over like what they're thinking of things. There's very little to give you a sense of a personality of a queen aside from just their outfit and what they're saying backstage.
I was actually glad that I watched online last night because they had most of it on there, not the judges' critiques and the ending. Because I think I would have been a little overwhelmed just quickly watching it and then coming in here. Because there was a lot of costumes, a lot of, you know what I mean, to remember.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cam. Yeah.
The voice of
Cam.
reason.
Because I was kind of...
Cam, stop talking.
I was enamored with
too much.
RuPaul's slippers. So
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
I like that Alaska looked like Anna Wintour. I wish somebody, though, would have been Kim Kardashian with the baby in the front.
Oh, I thought you meant oiled up. Sorry.
Oh, well, that too. But no, Kim Kardashian, do you remember that episode where she brought her baby there and it started crying? Anyway, don't bring your baby to a fashion show.
Can I just mention real quick, just because I wrote it down and it was one of the few things that I did write down. And we talked about it a little bit watching Candy Ho's boy hair.
Oh.
I'm gonna get.
Okay, you can't be wishy-washy. Now you're gonna be like Kenny. Either you're gonna rip or you're not gonna rip. So what are you trying to say here?
His hair did look like plugs.
It looked like he was wearing a wig as a boy.
Yeah, it was slick.
I don't know if he had something in it, like he was getting ready. So maybe he had something in, because sometimes you'll put it in to match a wig.
That was industrial.
So maybe he did, but it looked like a plastic. Sorry.
Do you like that better or worse than what Jiggly has going on underneath his wig?
Which is nothing. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna plead
Jiggly has that ponytail that's like at the bottom of his head, but nothing on
top.
That's
the Fu Manchu thing.
Yeah. Speaking of Fu Manchu, you guys should go to iTunes and I'm doing a Stephen Lemieux transition.
All right.
You should go to iTunes and rate us there. This is how we keep our lights on. This is how we get our fan response. We do over 90 shows, Steve? 90?
It's like 276.
We do... I need to get my mic. We do about 105 after shows a week, plus other content from other networks.
That's true.
150 hours a week.
Yes, we have Popcorn Talk and Black Hollywood Live. So you can check out other content there. Go to RuPaul's Drag Race, rate us, comment. I'm planning on reading comments for this season on the air.
Does. Yes.
I read all of the comments. I am not kidding. I read all the comments. I respond if they require a response. Sometimes like you suck. It's like, okay, thanks. That doesn't really require a response.
Like that one for me.
Right? You suck. Thanks. But I do read them all, and I respond to the ones I can respond to, and I'm going to read the iTunes comments this year on the air.
Oh, cool.
So if you guys comment, you might get a shout out. So please do that. And Pink Dolphins, you get a shout out for we've made some of our worst haters into fans. Good. And Pink Dolphins is a super fan.
Negative
now.
Or positive.
Yeah.
Say how you feel.
Say how you feel.
Find some relevancy.
Exactly. Okay. So Find some relevancy. That's what I feel like with my life.
Chipotle.
I'm just here to find some relevancy. Okay, so spring and fall looks. Who stood out to you? Who didn't? Well, obviously, who didn't? You just forgot.
I said Ginger stood out to me, but they obviously thought she was just okay to pass.
I didn't hate Ginger. I like Ginger. So favorite and
really,
worst, or
yeah,
what's
I really
the deal?
didn't understand. I didn't understand why, like what some of these choices were. I will say though, Jaden, her hair is always on point. She has the best wigs. I might not like her.
Oh yeah.
I liked her hair. I didn't like her makeup.
I didn't like her one pieces. Like
Yeah.
both of her things were bodysuits.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Ooh.
come on, girl.
Yeah, you got to mix it up.
You don't wear
gotta
that in the
mix it up.
spring. Just because you wore it in the spring show doesn't mean that's spring for the runway.
But
You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm just not a fan of. I'm a fan of mixing up what your outfits look like, and
Yeah.
so that for me, I was like gold bodysuit, and it was the same thing. But the
Well-
hair really stood out. It was great hair.
Yeah, but again, Bianca won wearing gowns all last season. So
Yeah, but Bianca stood out with her personality. And this, again, like when you're in a challenge like this where it doesn't give you much of a chance for you to say anything or for your personality to shine, you got to do something else.
no, I agree. 100. That's, I think walking into the workroom and the little things are what they have to pay attention to. And those are the people that stand out to us. Those are the people that people talk about. Those are the people that end up winning.
Yeah.
And and Sasha says, she's been planning this. I think I even wrote down what she said. She said, maybe I didn't.
Well, she's been watching all the seasons and memorizing.
She cracked the
and playing
code.
it.
She's
Yeah.
done her homework. Okay, if you did your homework, you
You
wouldn't
would
have
be
that
memorable.
black bra hanging out the back of your. Come on.
That was not okay.
And what does that have to do with? I didn't understand the challenge. What does that have to do with it?
No.
Your black junk was showing. I don't know
Yeah.
what words we're allowed
You're
to use.
nude. You're
Yeah.
nude. When you're nude, you're not wearing a
nude.
black bra.
Right. It's not your best nude illusion with a little black in the back. That's the
I
technical.
concur.
Anyway, I do think though the spring to fall runway. I mean, I'm looking through my notes now, and like, they're hard to make sense of because people come by so fast.
Yeah. I was
And-
like doing like fall. I gave Violet a star. Oh, fall. Violet's
Reveal.
reveal. The black. That was cool.
Yes.
That was cool. I like that.
I liked every one of her outfits. Like I felt like she.
She's super cunty. I don't know shit about
is
fashion. I
super
don't know
cunty.
about spring and fall. I don't give a shit. But for me, that was her gimmick. She was the most memorable for me, besides her bad attitude. So of course, I watched her. She polarized me for this episode. So she's one of my favorites. I mean, she might go down in flames, but who knows? But yeah, I agree.
I
Violet's
thought
reveal was the best for me.
Max walked the runway well. I really liked the way she
Yeah.
walked. And
I liked her fall look, but not her
yeah.
spring look.
Yeah.
gonna say
Because I thought
something
the
more?
spring look was just the entrance look.
Yeah,
It was the same
It
thing.
was very similar. I agree. I did. Wait, what was I going to say when you said that?
You pulled back. You were gonna say
Oh,
something. You thought twice about it.
I bet you can guess who I'm going to talk about then.
Maybe.
Pearl. Is it just me? Does it look like she can't walk in heels? Was I the only one that?
No, you're right, because I noticed, I made a comment because it's a huge pet peeve of mine for men, women, children, dogs. Pigeon-toed is a huge...
Well, and that's obviously not his fault. He can't help that. But you can walk around in heels.
If Forrest Gump can fix it, you can fix it.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just the shots that I was
No, she
seeing.
was a
It
bad
looked like she
walker.
was stumbling a little bit on that runway, and then even on the final runway.
Yeah.
So I
I
don't
liked
know.
her outfits, but I didn't notice the walk.
It was bad.
I didn't notice it.
I don't. It's just me.
But but Cam notices it too. I guess I don't know what it is, but I only notice it if it's terribly bad.
And I'll say this about I'm gonna stick up for Tempest because she was one of the ones I was really liking. So I'm kind of really annoyed that she's first to go, because I liked her spring, and I liked that she did two completely different looks. Like if you look at Jaden, she looked like the spring and fall where it was a onesie
Yeah.
with
Gold
crazy
onesie.
hair.
Gold onesie.
You know what I mean? Now, if Tempest came out in her look that she came into the workroom originally and did a spring and fall in that, they would have said, "Oh, but you're just doing the campy thing. You're not doing anything different." I liked what she did. I didn't think it looked bulky on her. I thought she looked great. I thought she worked the runway. I don't know. It's because I'm old and I'm defending the old people.
No, but actually, all that aside, do you realize though how they did this editing where it's like we get all of her story in the first episode because they know that she's going home.
Yeah.
Which.
Yay!
Well, and again, when they go to you can kind of tell from the episode who's going to be in the top and bottom because those are the people Ru talks to, or that they show her talking to.
Yes.
So I always kind of pay attention and go, okay, well, they didn't talk to that person, so they're going to be safe. I cracked the code, Sasha Bell.
Jasmine looks like Carol Burnett to me.
Who?
Carol Burnett.
Who looks like
Jasmine.
Oh, Jasmine.
Looks like Carol Burnett. She all of her looks are very Carol Burnett to me, and so is her makeup.
Yeah.
I thought Todrick Hall, and if you get that, you get it. If you don't,
Yeah.
You should look up Todrick Hall. If you are listening to this podcast and you have not seen Todrick Hall,
that's Todrick's
you might want to check
brother
yourself.
or something. Yeah.
And then what was my other thing?
Oh, I know. Go ahead.
Oh no, that was it.
I was going to say, sorry, Candy, but I'm going to go talk about your hair again. Her girl hair, though, for the spring, when she had the long, it's a proportion thing. And drag queens that know, it's all about proportion. And sometimes she just looked out of proportion with the hair slicked back with the flower thing on her head. I don't know. Just not my cup of tea. Not my shot of vodka.
So any final thoughts on the fall spring looks? Fall spring? Fall spring?
I wrote, for Sasha's. Sasha Bell, the lobster.
Oh no.
That
there's some things I just want to forget.
Hair. I didn't get her at all. I think I even wrote too much.
Yeah.
A lot of my things are just like passable. It's hard. It's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But so what do we think of the nude illusion looks? You know what was interesting for the nude illusion thing? The whole time I'm watching this, I'm judging them on how much their body looks like a girl. So I was shocked by the win because it's like, who is it, Violet that won?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had liked Violet's looks, I'm still like, you won with
doing nothing.
Doing nothing.
Well, and go ahead.
No.
Oh, I said that when the season 1 happened and I watched it, my first comment was, why do you have a tagline for the show that has to be bleeped? Don't blank it up.
Right.
She says it every episode. It always gets bleeped. So it's kind of like, I was like, why would you do that? I get that it's their thing now, but why would you have a runway of nude illusion and have to blur it? Like why? We really didn't get to see any,
she's going to market an uncensored version. She's going to make money off of this.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure there's online pictures and stuff, but why would
RuPaul's Girls Gone Wild?
It just didn't make sense to me. And I thought in general, they all could have gone. It doesn't mean you had, how many of them airbrushed a bodysuit?
Yeah.
Badly.
And that wasn't done in the workroom. That was done prior
Mm-hmm.
because they got a list, something that says nude illusion. So everybody just goes to nude.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see somebody do something with nude. It doesn't say you have to be naked. Nude illusion.
Right.
What is your definition of nude illusion?
I got that pre-done thing when Davenport was saying I couldn't change her. Remember, her tits were off. She made a comment. I couldn't change it, and that's why I realized, okay, this was already preset.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it doesn't even matter. It's like, even if you preset, why did you preset wonky boobs? Why would you do that?
Right.
That's not okay.
I like Tchotchke. She had a nice ass.
There were so many wonky boobs. There were people's boobs that needed plastic surgeons. If you can make your own boobs at home, make them nice boobs.
I'm an ass man, so some had really bad ass contouring. It was bad.
Some had just bad
horrible.
contouring all the way around. I was like, girl, you was
Okay, so wait, who's
lumpy.
your favorite then? Who's your favorite? Because like you said, I was looking for the best girl body.
I feel like Ginger Minge had the most realistic looking girl body.
What? Star, classy, naked.
Yeah. It had the most. She had the most realistic girl-looking body, and then I thought, I just wrote. Oh, Kasha Davis, I thought had the nicest boobs, and then Jasmine.
I loved her airbrushing. What you
Yeah.
could see, hers looked like it was done the best.
Yes, and then I felt like Jasmine had the nicest butt.
Jasmine has a pretty amazing butt.
Yeah.
I've set a drink on it a couple times. Thank you, Jasmine. I appreciate that.
I really do feel like Jasmine has. Is that her real butt?
It is 100%. And that blank does not work out. That is her natural, God-given body. It is ridiculous.
Oh, jealous. This is
I make
not
her change
okay.
in other rooms when I'm around. Like, get that skinny girl
So
away from
that's
me.
not even fair that I'm saying that she has the nicest butt
Yeah, no,
because
hers is-
she was born with that butt.
She was born with that.
I
think she does put some, maybe? I don't know. I feel like
Maybe
one time
for
I
some
did see her
outfits
put a
she
little
can
bit in.
keep pads in the
but
side.
she doesn't.
Because her ass goes out instead of
Because
sideways.
when I've seen her out, like just hanging out at the bars and stuff, and she'll wear her jeans and stuff, and I'm like, girl. And there's nothing. Yeah, that's her. That's 100%.
I like Candy Ho,
She has-
to be honest. As far as her body. Her hair is jacked,
okay.
but I was talking about body. Her body, for me, was the most fish.
Do we think we always have to have a girl from Puerto Rico?
I feel, you know what's interesting is like I feel Ru is trying to at least have like some Latino queens across the spectrum.
But there's Latino queens in New Mexico.
I know.
In Idaho.
So who's the Asian queen?
I feel like they're trying to get. I know, where is our Asian queen?
Tchotchke. Is that it? I don't know.
Is she Asian?
I don't know.
No, I don't
I'm
think
sure
so.
she's had a little Asian in her.
What kind of shit is this?
I feel like they're maybe it's the Puerto Rican queens. I don't know. I have no good. I have no good answer. I have no good answer for this.
I think the first two were great, and then I shouldn't say that because I do like some of them. I don't know. I just don't. I was thinking about this season.
You
'cause I
always
was
have to
like,
have one
there's
queen with a
always-
language barrier.
Right, but I just like. I mean, if you're gonna mix something up, well, then let's just get rid of it. I don't know. Like, get someone from Maine. I'm sure there's a good drag queen in Maine.
I'm sure they've had a drag queen in Maine. I mean,
We had weight loss and adoption
That's
this
right.
episode.
Yeah. Tempest.
we had
heart
birth. We had birth. Who
Oh
was
yeah,
the queen
that was
with the
Tempest.
birth? That was
Tempest.
Tempest.
Yeah.
Tempest.
She gave birth to a
But-
third.
That was actually the most memorable entrance. Like
Yeah.
out of all of the ones, you can't forget that.
Yeah.
She popped out a baby.
Yeah.
Um,
There were a lot of newspapers and things in front of faces too when they came in. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Max had it. Trixie had something in
wannabe
front of her face.
headline.
Yeah.
So Mama Ru's outfit, though, I will say, it was a cool outfit. I was like, it's like this like skeleton Tim Burton thing going on. It's very
What
cool.
color is that? Cerulean?
Yes.
Oh wow! Look at you.
I like that.
But the only thing I was thinking of, you don't know this, but we've always referenced that sketch show that's that.
Why are you so motherfucking
Why are you
blurry?
so goddamn blurry?
The lights
Okay.
are back.
Yeah, because I felt like everybody in this episode, not just Ru now was blurry. It's like the whole
Yeah.
friggin' panel, and I
You're
don't know
talking-
if it was how I was watching it or.
Are you talking about other than the blur they're putting over the nude bodysuits? You're
No.
talking about
No,
just in general.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about the white.
We talked season
lighting on
4
their
and
face.
5, and then it went away season 6. It wasn't that bad, and then
wasn't
now
that
it's
bad.
back. Now you have the blurry lighting
Yeah, now you have like season 2 lighting.
Well, they're
because that sketch show did
probably not
the
spending as much.
That sketch show was like season 3 or season 4. Yeah. Anyway,
She's blurry.
she blurry.
And what did you did you notice that at the beginning they don't mention Michelle as the judge? Like
Yeah, I
they just
guess it's
introduce
just like
everybody except for her?
given. It's just
Yeah, I
like given
guess.
that Michelle is the judge, and we have the 2 new judges. I know that Cam is missing Santino. He's crying. He's crying for Santino.
My heart is broken. I love Ross Matthews, so I'm in it. I love Ross.
It's a different energy. It's a very vibrant energy.
You don't
But
know Ross? Ross Matthews did a long stint on Chelsea lately.
Yeah.
Love Ross.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we go?
What did I write? There were a couple times I kind of surprised myself. I actually said, "Oh, I actually agree with Michelle," which I never thought I would say. When she said,
I love
Candy Ho.
Michelle's. I love Michelle's faces though. Whenever anybody disagrees with her, she gives the nastiest bitch face.
She looked at Kathy the first. I think she did a Kathy look, right? Kathy.
Yeah.
Well, we talked to, and I want to bring this up because I think she's going to contradict herself when she said nothing's wrong with the costume, because it makes me want to go watch old episodes and call her out on it,
Yes.
because I mean it's hard. It's hard because as a performer, some people and I don't think you have to know how to sew to be a drag queen.
Nope.
I
Blue
will
gun,
defend-
blue gun.
You need to know how to create a costume to win RuPaul's Drag Race. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't care that they don't know how, but know how to put something together to win a challenge or to get by that challenge
Yes.
so that you can continue on and then pay somebody to do it for you later. Because we all know Ru ain't sitting in there making those dresses for herself. So,
Agreed.
and we'll get out some old pictures of Ru. Let's,
Agreed.
you know what I mean? Like, she has a team. So it's easy to throw stones when you're having people make all that stuff for you. But so when Michelle said, there's nothing wrong with the costume, there does have to be a little, it's drag.
Yeah.
And if they had a dress that was from the rack, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like it was everything. It's always, you can't win.
Yeah, you know what's interesting though is because part of this is a matter of taste, and then part of it is
Yeah.
like some queens just whatever that magical it is that makes fame or makes people draw people to
The
other
it
people.
factor.
That magical it factor. It's like sometimes one outfit that will look right on one queen will just not be right on the other.
Like
And
Adore.
one-
Adore had some horrible outfits,
Yeah.
but people loved for her for some reason in them. I thought they were tacky, and sometimes even my co-host thought that she looked really good.
I love them on
See?
her. I love them on
She-
her. It was
her
because she wore it
personality.
with her personality.
I agree.
To me,
I
it
agree
all
with
fit
you.
together.
I love
It's
Dora.
like you have to have a certain confidence in yourself and a certain knowledge of like this fits what I'm doing.
Well, and I was going to say too that there are times definitely, and I've done this, where I bring something, I'm like this, I'm going to nail this, everyone's going to love this, and everyone's like, ugh. And I'm like, you really didn't like it? Raven always makes fun of my show. When she does her show, she does birthdays. So she always wears like an ugly dress for birthdays.
Yes,
so every
I remember
time I
that.
come to the show, when she's in the show, she'll go through my bag. She goes, where's my birthday dress? I'm like, get out of my bag.
Aww.
But I love her. But yeah, no, it's just, you just never know what people are going to like. And it is a taste thing. And yeah.
I
Just
have
not me.
I have a final question for you, being a drag queen, knowing the process of applying to RuPaul's Drag Race, let's say. You were talking to us before coming in about the requirements for this year. Would you like to share a little bit about that? Because,
How much time do you got?
Yeah, because I don't think people realize how tough it is to get on RuPaul's Drag Race. It's not just like, oh, I watch a couple of old videos of you and like you send in an audition tape with an outfit or two. It's not.
All right, here, I'll try and remember everything.
It's not easy.
Okay, so there's an actual application that has questions like, where are you from? Where do you live?
Gender.
Where did you come up with your gender? Where did you come up with your name? You know, just asking general stuff about the character, things that you like, other queens that you like. Just a whole application, kind of like Survivor. Then they want to see your closet. They want to see the clothes, what you have. They want to see you out of drag, and there's usually a specific amount of time. It'll say more than half of the video needs to be you out of drag. And then they want to see you in. Originally, like when I first started submitting, was like 3 outfits or 4 outfits. Then it slowly started getting to be more outfits. They want to see you in more looks, which I understand. But this last one, it said, I think 10 to 14 outfits. And then in parentheses, it said, if you've submitted in the past, do not use any photos or costumes that you've worn in the past. Now, mind you, those of you that are not on the show and don't have a weekly gig, it's hard to make the money to come up with 14 new outfits if you're not on the show. So it's kind of like a catch-22. So there's that. Then they want to see now, of course, an impersonation. They wanted a... this is kind of the one that I was just like, done, not doing this. They said to go to your local 99, this is not even an exaggeration, go to your local 99-cent store and buy stuff on your own dime and make a costume. Well, first of all, I don't wear shit, sorry, from the 99-cent store. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to prove to you, I did cutting and pasting in kindergarten. I don't need to prove to you that I can. And if you can't do that, then, and it would be different, I said this to you, it'd be different if that was getting me on the show, but it's clear when you see the people that they pick,
that it's just,
they didn't.
They're casting for conflict.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So they're going to pick, I mean, maybe they're picking the people that have a bad one too. You know, I get it.
So that they can have those episodes where they have the people that it's like, well, we know so-and-so can't make a dress from like paper cups. So they're going to be in the
Hula
bottoms.
Hula hoops. And then they also wanted...
Jasmine would win.
And I think that one of the last things was they sent a script from the courtroom scene that they had to do a couple seasons back, and they wanted you to videotape yourself acting in the scene. Whereas I thought I could just hold up my degree from the Ohio State University, my theater major, that would be enough to shoot that I can know how to act. But clearly it's not enough. So yeah, it is a process. So I did the application for 7, and then when I was like, oh, let me see what else, I was like, it would take 2-3 weeks. I just didn't have the time and the money to spend at the 99 cents. Yeah, I don't know. Like it just you can all talk smack about me after the show.
Anyway, so predictions. I don't know why I'm clapping.
Wait, if you didn't know, who went home?
I know, right?
Who went home?
Your AfterBuzz TV.
I'm gonna predict Tempest goes home on episode 1.
Wow. What kind
I'm not good. I'm not
was
good.
that? I'm not necessarily saying predict who's going home,
Okay.
but like predict who you think like at least
Top
one queen,
2.
top 2. Yeah, top 2 is
Top
good.
2?
Yeah.
You want to go first?
No.
He wants to contradict me. I still like Mrs. Kasha Davis. I really like her a lot. I don't know that she's going to go all the way. I just don't think they're giving her enough airtime. Like I feel like the people we kind of already know who they like.
Right.
I like Kasha. I hope that she goes far. Let me look at my little cheat sheet here. I actually think Katya. I think Katya is going to go far. After seeing today,
Yeah.
I have a new. She was my person from Meet the Queens that I actually don't even really remember her Meet the Queen now. That I'm like, I want to go back and watch her Meet the Queen now. I want to go watch more about her because I thought she was very entertaining. So
I'm gonna stick with my Davenport and Tchotchke.
can I do Davenport?
Yeah.
And Violet
I
Chachki?
think Tchotchke not only will go far because of the dresses she picks out, but because she's a controversial personality.
right.
And so I think she could be, oh my gosh, what was on Sharon's season, the one queen who everybody just hated?
Oh,
Fifi?
Fifi.
Fifi, which actually, like, we've had Fifi interviewed on the show. She's actually really nice.
She was.
She was really nice. Like, probably one of the
The
sweetest
camera
people
just
I've
turned her into a
interviewed.
beast.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling though too that she's really nice because people expect. You know what I mean? She kind of
Yeah.
overdoes it because she's
Right.
like, okay, I know that you guys think that I'm gonna.
But it's also like you have to think when you're in a room with people and you've got like cabin fever and it's like you can't contact people from the outside world and you've been dealing with these people, and sometimes when people just get on your nerves, they get on your
Yeah.
nerves.
Yeah.
Like if you're dealing with somebody in the world at large,
Yeah.
it could be a different personality. Anyway, I feel like Violet Chachki might be like a Fifi of the top 3.
Yeah.
And then Ginger Minj, I definitely think.
I really
Yeah.
like Ginger
I like
too.
Ginger Minj. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to check us out next week. And we are going to, Untucked airs tomorrow, so we're going to review the Untucked next week. Again, you can find me at 123 Jackie_B on Twitter, at 123 Jackie B, all one word, on Instagram. Where can they find you guys?
At Lorraine Love, LORAYNE LOVE on Twitter and Instagram.
At Tamakava777. And shout out to Kenny Harrison, who will be back
Yes,
next
he
week.
will be back next week.
Yeah.
Hosting and pointing down.
Cleaning out.
Pointing down and cleaning out. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Good night, you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.